What's up, buds? And welcome to the new episode of the Earbuds Podcast, the podcast where two friends talk about one album for many minutes. We are your hosts, Ash, it feels like flying hand, and Lucas, but maybe we're dying, Indrakovs. And today we are talking about an album that you brought to the podcast.
Yes, sir.
That you forced us to listen to.
Yes, sir.
And, right off the bat, I mean, we're talking about the album it's by a band called Miracle Musical. Mm-hmm. And the title of the album is Hawaii Part 2.
It's going to be pretty tough to find this album. The band name is all in hiragana, I believe.
Is that what that is?
Yep.
Is that a Japanese language?
Yep.
Yes.
That is Japanese.
Yes. It's crazy how I can tell the languages now just based off of the characters. Like, I was never able to do that before. And
yeah, it slowly started to get better, not just with that, but with like all languages.
Yeah, same.
You know?
Yeah, it's weird. Like, never thought I'd be able to tell apart all the different alphabets and characters in the Asian languages, and it's like they are really distinct.
It's like I'm not even trying, but it's just like it's something that comes with age, I guess, as you see these languages enough and you get enough associations.
Or just becoming cultured,
I'm just like kind of traveled,
Maybe like leave your house for once, every now and then.
Discovery Channel like a couple times a month.
Go eat some ramen, eat some pho, learn yourself some culture. But the first thing I gotta ask, Ash, is what the fuck is this record supposed to be?
Man, this record is an enigma. I'll tell you, my buddy Sam.
I don't know what to think of this thing.
My buddy Sam brought Black Rainbows, the track on this to me.
Great song.
And that's the only reason I have ever known about this album. This album I heard about before Tally Hall, which I don't think is many people's experience. I don't know if you know who that is.
I didn't even know that this band was essentially a side project of Tally Hall until I was able to do what very little research there is to do on this album. And
yeah, right.
I've never listened to Tally Hall. Do you like them? Are they anything like this?
They span a similar range of influences and genres, but I'd say this is an age like wine, much more matured version of anything they were trying to do on their projects.
Okay. I mean, it's interesting. Like Tally Hall must be kind of a big band because this album has millions of plays on it.
Yeah, they're kind of a cult band from I think the like thousands or even 2010s.
The thousands?
The 2000s.
Oh wow! I was like, Jesus, are they vampires?
They might be.
Are they the undead?
Very well. The late 2000s.
Okay. Okay, yeah, because this album came out 10 years ago at this point, in 2012.
Yeah.
When the world was supposed to end.
Yes, December 12th. 12.
I'm still upset that didn't happen.
Well, we're getting through it day by day.
Yeah, it's been a slow decline since.
It's a slow burn.
But so your friend showed you Black Rainbows.
Yeah, if you're a fan of music, this track is gonna interest you.
It's so cool, man.
Right off the bat.
Yeah.
It's such a weird vibe. We'll get into specific songs later.
Yeah.
But this entire album has such interesting atmospheres with each song and influences and ranges and dynamics. Production things that I haven't seen on many other albums.
Yes, I mean, yeah, we'll get into the production for sure, but just right off the bat, I feel like we need to explain what this album kind of is, because it's kind of a concept record. It's clearly it's a musical, right?
Yeah, it's a miracle musical.
It's a miracle musical. I mean,
the only album by this band, though. There is Hawaii Part 2, which is like instrumentals and remixes and stuff.
Oh, I'd love to hear that.
On Bandcamp.
Okay, yeah, that's not on Spotify.
No. There was a single that I think came shortly after this album.
Yes.
And I think that's about it from this band. And this is a concept record, certainly, but one of the widest ranges of interpretations I think I've ever seen on a record.
Absolutely, because like that intro track which I love. The super depression era type of musical jazzy stuff. I love the way he's singing.
Yeah.
But it does not set you up for what this album's going to sound like, because the vibes just, the album spans, like you said, so many different genres and cultures, from pop to indie to like electronic dance music to like straight up musical theater, and then fucking hip hop.
Yeah.
So like I think you can categorize this almost as like world music in a sense.
Sure. Yeah,
Right?
there's a song where all the lyrics are either in Japanese or French.
Right. There's so many different cultures and genres that are influencing like the overall songwriting that it's really hard to put this album in any sort of box.
Yeah.
It's all over the place.
It's extremely experimental. It's extremely creative with not just the songwriting, but the production choices, the lyrics.
Yeah.
Have interesting things that I didn't even know before. There's a track on here called The Mind Electric.
Dude,
And
I was telling Christina about that track.
the entire first half of that track is the song played backwards, except for the word insane, which is played forwards. And then the second half of the track starts playing forwards, but the word insane is backwards.
And
it's just like stuff like that happens throughout the entire album.
yeah, and that switch up was just so seamless that
It's out of nowhere.
I didn't expect it to happen. I didn't know what was going on, and I listened to this album the first time a couple years ago because you recommended this to me.
Yes.
And I did this for my album of the day reviews, and I was really caught off guard by it back then and really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. I had no idea what to expect, and I remember you gave me a list of like, let's say 10 albums, and I asked, okay, out of these 10, what do you really think, like, what would be a priority? And you said this one.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting album above all else. If you care about nothing else, it's extremely interesting. It's gonna surprise you at nearly every turn.
Dude, like on Black Rainbows, like you mentioned, I love that song so much, and the vocoder part, like ooh ma 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 ooh ma
Yeah,
ma, like Hawaiian, I think they're speaking there.
Throat singing.
Oh, it's throat singing.
Yeah, that's what I believe in. Yeah,
I thought he was
that
speaking
part's
Hawaiian.
in Hawaiian.
Oh.
It's the colors of the rainbow
Oh, that's awesome.
that he's saying.
That's awesome. Yeah,
but he says he repeats the color black because it's black rainbow.
I dig it. Yeah, I mean I think you've pinpointed what makes this album, because the music is pretty incredible and pretty impressive as a whole.
Yes.
But what really makes this album stand out to me is the production. Like throughout the entire record, it's just the choices that they made. They made such interesting, a lot of times kind of trippy choices with like how loud they would make the drums and the bass sometimes.
Yeah.
The random choices to auto-tune certain vocal parts that clearly don't need to be auto-tuned, but it's great. Like whatever the one that's all in Japanese, the title, like the guy singing has such a cool voice and doesn't need to be auto-tuned, but it does add a lot to it. And there's so many things going on throughout the record, and so many group vocals and background vocals and layered things that they're doing.
A lot of main vocalists even
right
on different songs.
Yeah, and I gotta say I like the main vocalist. I don't even know who that is. But I love it, man. And with the Mind Electric, it's like, who thought of that? Like, was that something that when they were just going through the song, they were like, hey, we should play this backwards and see how it sounds? Like, who thought of that?
It's the entirety of the song is played backwards as the first part of the song. And I have my quibbles with it, but the first time I was listening, I was thinking, what the fuck is going on? And then out of nowhere, without any warning at all, it plays the song forward. The first time I listened, I didn't even notice.
Really?
I didn't notice until like the second verse. I'm like, oh, wait. These instruments like sound more normal, and I can understand.
It's like your brain was already kind of like rewired by that point. Like,
yeah,
it reminds me of like when you ever seen those things like where, oh man, it's like when you see shit written down and you don't realize that because the way that they like bold letters in a word, that you're reading it backwards and you don't realize it. And it's like you get kind of used to reading the word backwards, and you realize that if the front, like the last letter and the first letter are bolded, it's way easier to read it. So you kind of like go through this whole paragraph and you're like, holy shit, like I can read this whole thing like I'm reading anything normal, and it's all backwards, and it's
Yeah.
I want to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they knew that they were going to do that on the Mind Electric, and they just pulled it off amazingly, or they just one day like someone put it on reverse, and they were listening and they were like, oh shit, this is really cool.
It's extremely interesting, especially since it's a track based around like insanity,
Right.
you know, and it
Yeah.
kind of, the longer it goes, you kind of start feeling a little crazy yourself, because it's like 3 straight minutes
Yeah.
of a reversed song, and just like all these noises coming in, and you can hear this like weird progression, and this pulsating fuzzy guitar keeps going through that song,
Yes.
which is another great interesting choice. Another production choice I love on this album is on the song Murders.
That is
where
by
it's
far the
mainly-
most musical song on the record.
Yeah, it's mainly a piano and vocals.
It sounds like Sweeney Todd. It's Sweeney
Yeah,
Todd.
It's absolutely devious. It's criminal. It's creepy.
It's very creepy.
and
Yes.
They
It's almost like
made
Jack the Ripper
decision.
is like right around the
They-
corner or something, you know?
They made the decision that when he was really gonna start banging on those keys, they're gonna let the mic clip a little bit.
You know, I didn't like that.
I loved that. I thought that was fantastic.
I didn't like that was the only song that I didn't really like the production on. I thought I mean, I didn't like the parts that were kind of like Sweeney Todd, you know, but man, when he
It's gonna happen in a musical.
I know, I just don't like the saloon style production of the piano. It kind of sounds like a, you know, like a western bar. But when he gets to the like
I love it.
the Fountain of Infinite Mirror part, like that, yeah, that melody of that whole section is just gorgeous.
Yeah, it's crazy. The vocals on this record as well, like
Yeah,
on Dream Suite in C major, where there's
such a good
these
song, man.
these like old 50s sounding a cappella, like like the commercials you would see from the 50s when they're advertising
Yes.
butter or something.
Or like Hawaii. It sounds like one of those, like, you know, classic like white people in the 50s loved going to Hawaii, and it was just this kind of like romantic Hawaii. Like, how do you make a song sound like from the 50s but super modern,
Right.
super Hawaiian, super tropical, but then somehow it's like electronic and it's indie and it's all these things
know,
combined.
I think you've touched on another aspect of this album that makes it so great to me is this like beautiful blending of not just genre but also like time periods.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
Like we said, the
And-
intro track is like a straight up Depression era kind of crooner jazz song.
But the album hasn't aged a day since 2012. I'd say even it might still be ahead of its time.
I mean, it's one of those that are so ballsy and experimental that it doesn't sound like from any one era. So it's really easy for
Yeah.
it to not sound dated, especially because the production is just like fucking like just throughout the whole
Right.
thing. But
It's fucking
I mean, dude, there's songs on here that sound like Andrew Bird. There are songs on here that sound like the Gorillaz.
yeah.
They're all over like Murders kind of almost had like a Beatles vibe to it at times.
Yeah, like a kind of creepy White Album Beatles or
yeah,
something.
exactly. And again, like we keep harping on like the Mind Electric, but it's just like, you know, you're not gonna hear that is balls. That is guts to put a song like
It's
that.
quite a fucking decision.
And then right after that is like this backwards forward song, and then Labyrinth right after that is like Clint Eastwood Gorillaz style like hip hop track.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, whoever's rapping is actually pretty fucking good, which you wouldn't expect from, you know, something like this where they're just like, you know, you don't expect good rapping to be on a fucking indie album, you know, on a musical thing. Like, I don't give a fuck about Hamilton. Don't tell me about Hamilton, all right? I don't want to hear about it. Like, I'm sick of that guy. But like, are there, you know, I don't see you as a fan of musicals.
You know, that might just be because I haven't been able to watch many.
You haven't fucking
I've
dived
seen-
in.
My mom had the Cats VHS
Mm.
when I was just a wee lad. I've seen Wicked in concert. I've watched Hamilton on Disney Plus, and honestly, that's about it. That's like my entire
I
experience
mean,
with
I'm kind of the
musicals.
same way. I had a friend, well, he's still my friend, but growing up, he was super, super into musicals, and he forced me to listen to Wicked and Rent and a
Yeah,
bunch of
right.
stuff. But like, I'm also not a big musical guy either. But then when I sit down and think about it, like, I always think I'm like, oh, I hate musicals. Then I think about it, I'm like, I love Grease. I love Little Shop of
Uh,
Horrors.
I think you are. We've talked about this when we were thinking of doing like concept records back
Yeah,
in Mortales. Is that there's a certain aspect of concept records that you just immediately aren't
I
fond
just like
of.
write it off immediately because I don't like a concept record when they're forcing themselves to be so strict to the concept. You know, this is a
Sure.
concept album that spans 6 or 7 different genres of music. You know, so
And
it's
so it might just be the same thing with musicals,
I think it is,
right?
yeah.
In that, like, there are these musicals that, like, Little Shop of Horrors, I'd say, might be a little cheesy,
Oh,
but it's, like,
definitely,
interesting enough.
dude. Rocky Horror, love Rocky Horror. I mean,
But
South Park,
it's
Bigger, Longer, and Uncut is also one of my favorite musicals.
really.
It's an amazing musical.
Is that true?
Have you
Is
never
that
have you
right?
never seen it?
No, I haven't seen South Park Longer
Are
and
you
Uncut.
fucking kidding
When it
me?
came out, I was fucking in elementary
I was
school,
watching
dude.
South Park in elementary school.
My mom wouldn't let me get the VHS,
Oh,
dude.
Jesus. You gotta grow up.
I
It's a,
fucking,
I don't
I
know if
am grown
people,
up, and now I'm not gonna watch South Park on my own
I
volition.
don't know if people consider it a musical, but I do because there's a lot of music in that movie,
I mean, they did that. They did the Book of Mormon.
which I
They
hear is
did.
amazing. I've never seen it, but I heard it's really good.
I like it. Got a couple awards, man.
Yeah,
Like
not
they kind of
surprised.
know what they're
They
doing.
absolutely know, and they're super into musicals. And I'm always surprised when there's a lot of comedians that love musicals.
Comedians specifically.
Comedians specifically, Doug Benson, Scott Ackerman, PFT, um, Jason Mantzoukas. Like, there's a lot of comedians that I listen to that are super, super into musicals, and it kind of made me think about them in a different way because, I started thinking about my childhood, and I was just like, dude, I love The Labyrinth, I love Grease, and there's all these movies that, I mean, Grease is a straight up musical, but there's a lot of movies that just have so much music being performed in them, and I fucking love them.
Yeah.
So I'm like, maybe I
Right.
am into musicals. It's
I
kind
mean,
of a
I think like
scary thought.
anything else, like movies or fucking TV shows, like you're gonna be into some
There's
of them.
something so cringy about musicals, though, specifically, especially the performers.
That's true. Well, it's kind of it's a very ancient art that has taken a long time to kind of evolve.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
That's true. It was they were stuck in this like Leonard Bernstein or Andrew Lloyd Webber era, like Cats, like you mentioned. Like they were just stuck in
Yeah.
this like lame ass, the same musicals for 30 years, and then now like Lion King's amazing, and like all these different,
There
they're like Spider Man the musical and shit. But yeah,
I've heard disaster stories
oh
about
yeah,
that.
it was a major disaster.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, like musicals are starting to, like American Idiot. Like they're
Yeah.
modernizing themselves, which
It's
I can
SpongeBob.
appreciate. SpongeBob at a musical?
Weirdly enough, I've heard it's pretty good.
That doesn't surprise me, man. Yeah, it's interesting. Like the older I get, the more open I am to that stuff. But I was in theater all through high school, and the real theater kids, because I was in it just to not have to do PE.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I
It was your
enjoyed it.
fucking like
It
physical
was my
credit or
elective.
whatever.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed acting and everything. But the people that were really into theater were some of the most obnoxious, annoying, high energy people I've ever met. And I can't imagine people who are like super into musicals. They must be the most annoying people to hang out with.
They can theater kids and theater adults are a very particular breed
They are. They have
of
a certain
people.
energy to them that really annoys the hell out of me. But I'm
Um,
sure I have that energy for a lot of people too. So
Well, sure. I mean, we're all fucking
Whatever.
human beings. You know what I'm fucking saying?
Yeah, I mean, with all that said, man, I don't know how much more we can break down this album without really getting into the songs here. So
Yeah.
let's go into let's pick our two favorite songs,
All right.
mention our honorable mentions, the ones that almost fucking made it. But what was your first choice, Nook? You brought this album to me.
Yeah.
You've probably been listening to this for what, almost 10 years at this point?
This is one of those albums that I really like, but I only rarely listen to just because I don't want that shimmer to fade.
Right, I
You know,
totally
like
get that. Yeah,
every time I go into it, I forget a bunch of stuff about it, and I'm like surprised again.
and I feel like there's only a real select few songs that you can listen to on their own.
Yeah, but I think my first nug might be one of them. And it is Sir, the first one I found. It is Black Rainbows.
That's
Thank
one of
you,
mine
Sam.
too. That's one of mine too.
It's gotta be.
Thank you,
It's
Sam.
such Mongolian throat singing. Is that it?
Yes. Yeah. Oh.
That going the whole time, this kind of almost hip hop beat.
Yes.
This female vocalist whose harmonies
Oh,
fucking
gorgeous.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Real.
I don't.
Yeah.
And they do the thing I love, and that rarely happens, where she starts off the first part of the line, and like the last word of the line, all the harmony comes in.
Which sounds almost like a manufactured harmony. It sounds like they're putting her through a thing.
A little bit,
Yeah. And I love what they do to her voice with all the reverb, spacey stuff that they put on it. And dude, yeah, like you said, the Gorillaz groove on this song is very apparent.
Yeah, they throw in a couple like wood blocks in there
That-
to kind of give it some flavor.
That kind
It's
of
like,
Middle Eastern guitar stuff that's going on at some point
Yeah.
there.
it's one of the shorter songs on the record at 2.5 minutes, but man, it's fantastic. It rolls so well after Isle Unto Thyself, which
Yeah.
by the way, we got to talk about the track list on here. We got to talk about like the fucking ordering of tracks here.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I
It's-
mean, it's organized in a way of a musical where
Yeah.
it starts out really strong and then kind of like gives you this sort of I feel like the music almost gets more intense as it goes. But
Yeah.
you know, like Isle Unto
bit.
Myself has a great rhythm, a great groove. But yeah, once Black Rainbows comes in, you're just like, whoa, this is starting to get kind of like a little kind of dark, a little like foreboding sounding a little bit, but it's still beautiful and ethereal and spacey.
Yeah.
That super deep, like brumpy synth bass that they have going the whole time. Like I fucking love that. But yeah, as
Yeah.
it goes, like White Ball is more intense. It's almost like a suspenseful feeling. Like Murders is super fucking intense.
I would say like Black Rainbows is where the album finally starts kind of show what's going to happen here, because you
Yeah.
can go through the first two tracks, first off not knowing they're two different tracks, second
Totally.
off kind of thinking you know what's going to happen on this record.
Yeah.
Then Black Rainbows happens. White Ball sounds like some kind of like weird ballroom
Dude.
song. Murders is that
Kind of like
keyboard slamming creepy vocal.
yeah, that like there's a murder on the loose kind of vibe, you know.
You just gotta kind of give up figuring out where this album's gonna go and just go for the ride, man. And I just want to know what your fucking second nug is, and if you have any honorable mentions.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know if you'll have it.
Oh, you know I do, baby. Yeah, man, Black Rainbow's easy choice snug for me as well.
Yeah.
Honorable mentions, White Ball, the one right after.
Sure.
So cool. I love the melody on that whole song, and the female vocalist, like her shaky delivery just adds to this kind of suspense, nervous energy throughout the whole thing. It's great.
Yeah, there's like these weird ad libs kind of thrown out, like almost by accident.
Yeah, I felt like people were just talking.
Yeah, it was. It kind of like, I don't know. It gave it a cool feeling to me.
A saint sign, do 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 do. Like it's gorgeous.
Bump bump bump.
Yeah,
and
chin
then you
chin
just hear
chin
like a.
chin chin
I
chin
get
chin.
this.
Yeah,
It's
right. Like, wait, what? I literally thought someone talked to me, like, because I was walking my dog while I was listening to it one time, and I turned around, and I was like, the fuck? Like, it sounded like someone was right in my ear. But White Ball for sure. The one that I don't know what the title is because it's all in what's it called?
Hiragana.
Hiragana. Yeah, that is a fucking great song. I love that the trumpets on it. It almost sounds like the trophy ceremony in Mario Kart.
Yeah, it
right?
does.
Like for sure. But I love his voice. The Mind Electric, just for the sheer fucking balls to do something like that. Labyrinth, like so good. Stranded Lullaby and Dream Suite in C major. The closing track was almost so close to being my second choice Nug.
That track does not want to end.
I don't want it to
There
end
are like
either.
3 false endings on that
Yeah,
track.
that's true, and I am fine with it.
What I didn't know before today when I went on Genius is that it incorporates so many parts of all the previous songs on the record.
Really? So it's almost like
And-
that. It is the ending song of a musical.
Yeah,
Man, it
it's the ending
combines all
song.
the. It's a medley.
Brings back a lot of lyrics of past songs, a
Yeah.
lot of like melodies and themes.
It's a great bookend too, because
So cool.
the first song, the Introduction to the Snow, and the last song, they're just such great bookends because he starts out with the same vibe, and
Yeah.
then it goes somewhere. But just like it's happened in so many other albums that we listen to, my choice nugs are usually a lot of times back to back.
Oh, I had no idea you were gonna pick that one.
Isle unto thyself.
You were an island to thyself.
Like do 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 do.
Kind of like a weird Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, like cigarette in one hand, fucking whiskey in the
with
other.
Whiskey in the other.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Oh, dude, it's so much fun. I love the rhythm and the groove. The drums are like really like kind of jazzy.
Yeah, they keep the energy up.
Yeah.
This flows perfectly from the first song.
Perfectly.
You wouldn't even know that it transitioned.
Those background
um,
vocals are so nice.
Yeah.
Another Hawaiian vibe. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. So cool, and like the bass sounds like it's fretless, and I fucking love fretless bass.
Yep.
That bop 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 of the background vocals, it's just really cool. It's really original, but I know that they're homaging music that really did happen, in the 50s and 60s and stuff, that when everyone was
Yeah.
obsessed with Hawaii. But they just made it so fucking cool that I can't get over it. I love it so much.
It just doesn't. He gives it that modern twist. It kind of has these backup vocals almost give you a hyper story vibe.
Yeah,
it.
for sure. Like it, like, and then the part with like that his voice is going through like a vocoder or something, like
Yeah.
and those weird progressions, very very musical theater. How do you get a Hawaiian vibe? And you pull it off with all the little synth things that they're doing, and the jazzy drums, and the crazy like effects on the vocals. It's just
It
so
just feels like
impressive.
this. None of this should have worked.
No, it shouldn't, and I shouldn't like this. Straight up.
But here we are.
But
baby.
here we are. Like, I should not like this song, and really, I shouldn't like this album at all. And I fucking love this album. So yeah, Isle Unto Thyself, easy, dude. I mean, that one with Black Rainbow's following up, I say that's the 2 strongest songs, like the 2 back to back on the
It's a
record.
pretty strong way to open your album.
Yeah, absolutely.
No doubt at all.
So it's not yours. It's not your second choice now.
It's not mine. It's an honorable mention along with Murder. With Mind Electric. I
Yeah.
usually skip the first half of that song, honestly,
Really?
after a while. Yeah, it's like it's good,
It is.
but it's like I just want to get to the song. So
Murders was my least favorite.
really,
Yeah.
well, you're gonna have a little shocking for you because I misspoke. Murders is my second note.
Wow. So wait,
and,
what are
like,
your
it's
other
so
honorable
hard-
mentions?
First off, it was so hard to pick a nug because all these songs are great.
Yeah.
Time Machine is like kind of weird and poppy, but in a way that I don't hate, and that I can kind of get
No,
behind.
dude, Time Machine reminds me. I've brought up this band before several times. You need to check them out. Called Discovery. Time Machine reminded me so much of Discovery.
Is that the Vampire Weekend band or is that the Skull guy?
No, that's Vampire. The singer of Vampire Weekend and the singer of Rah Rah Riot. their kind of electronic project that they did together, and it's so good. And Time Machine reminds me so much of it. Time Machine had almost an anime vibe to it. Was that just me?
I don't know about that.
I don't watch anime, so I'm again, all of my opinions are
just shooting
extremely
right
uneducated. Yeah, I rely on you to keep me in line here. Oh, Jesus Christ!
Oh shit!
We're good. We're good. We're good.
My second nug is Murders, baby.
Yeah.
I love the vibe on this song. It might be your least favorite song. I love the dynamics of even just the keys on the song. I love the flow throughout the album. There's like supposedly a 9/11 time signature.
You know, I heard
is referring to 9/11.
Yeah, that was one of the only things I was able to find about this record, that apparently the part 2, the two eyes next to each other, are supposed to represent the Twin Towers. Find it very odd.
Like 10 years before this album came out.
I find it very odd as a musical choice, but it's in 9/11 timing.
I believe this it's like Murders. I think Mind Electric is in 9/11.
Okay.
As
Interesting.
Well. But I just love the dynamics on this one. The voice in Found in Fear.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of Sufjan Stevens.
Totally.
A little bit.
I forgot to mention him. But I was like, Andrew Bird, Gorillaz, and Sufjan, 100% on this song.
I love how the music kind of develops eventually. There's like, I don't think there's any drums, but an electric guitar comes in, a synth comes in. I love how blown out the mic can sound at times. I love it. I think it's a fantastic choice.
The only thing that saves that song for me is the Fountain of Infinite Mirror part or whatever. Like, I love that melody.
Yeah.
The da-na-na-da-na-na-da, like, it's gorgeous, it's catchy, it's haunting, it's beautiful.
There were parts of that song that remind me of what is that fucking Sufjan Stevens song? He's like, oh my god.
Oh man, I love Sufjan so much, but I haven't listened to him in forever.
It's some song off Illinois.
Yeah, I think it's Chicago.
Chicago?
It might be Chicago.
In any case.
Anyway, with that said, man,
let's get to these fucking ratings, baby.
Give it a stretch. Give it a stretch.
This is the 7th inning, y'all. Kind of get up, get your blood moving, maybe get a drink or two, and we're just hanging out. We're just fucking kicking it with the boys.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm fucking saying?
I know what you're saying. All right, I'm gonna go first.
All right.
As a guest to this album.
As a newcomer.
You're hosting me to this record. So, what you drinking? What you drinking?
That's some Monster Juice.
Oh, God. Poison.
With, like, the Dia art on it.
Great.
It's good shit. Whatever.
Sure. So, I couldn't find my original... Did you spill it?
Well, no.
Did you throw it out the window?
Yeah, just fucking
I could not find my original review of this album. I went all through my Instagram. I couldn't find it for some reason.
Really?
Yeah, it was weird. I was trying to see what I rated it the first time. But I looked a couple times and I couldn't find it.
If I find it, I'll put it in the video.
Yeah, do that.
Just so we can see a kind of difference in how you think and your rating stuff.
For sure. But like I said, man, I think this album is very unexpected for me. It's impressive. The songwriting is there. The vocals are there. The musicianship is there. The balls are apparent. The
balls are out.
Just the fact that they pulled this off so well is, I just gotta give them points just for that alone. And adding to that was how much I truly enjoy this record. Like, I can give people props for musicianship all day, but I'll still give them a shitty rating if I didn't enjoy the fucking music.
Right. Yeah, we've done that many times.
And I just love this album, man. And, today I was thinking about it. I'm like, how high am I really going to go with this? And I think I'm going to give this an 8.4.
An 8.4. Okay. I was almost worried you were gonna go too high. Do you like
Yeah.
what are your gripes with this album? Do you have any gripes with it?
Only gripes I have are Murders. I didn't really enjoy too much, and Time Machine. I didn't enjoy too much, but literally everything else is either a favorite or an honorable mention. And I didn't even mention the intro song is definitely an honorable mention for me.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really have no complaints except those two songs, and I feel like that just kind of, I gotta bring it down a little bit. I gotta be a little realistic, you know. Even if those two songs were bangers, just like everything else on this, I wouldn't give it a 10. So
Well, because you give nothing a 10.
goddamn right. I stay true to myself.
There's gonna be a chit chat on that eventually.
You're
I will.
you're
I
too
will
willy nilly
fucking
with the
chat.
tens, man. You're just like you're giving away turkeys
there
on
are like
Thanksgiving.
5 albums that I've given a 10, dude.
Yeah.
You need to give out some fucking 10s and enjoy your fucking life.
There's only one album that's a 10 for me. You know this.
Okay, but like it's even a hesitant 10.
It's extremely
It's not
hesitant.
even like a solid 10.
No, it's very hesitant.
And if you want to know which album that is, you can go back through our entire catalog.
Yeah, go find it.
I'm gonna give this something higher. The
I
first time
figured.
listening to this album, I had no idea what the fuck was happening. It's-
You've brought the most interesting music to this podcast, I think, between the two of us. Like, you have surprised me more than I feel like I have surprised you.
I think on those instances, it's always been stuff that my buddy Sam has given me.
Really?
Because he's just got some weird. He gave me fucking Diablo Swing Orchestra, dude.
So this motherfucker is he's the weird one.
He's kind of a weird one. His
Okay.
favorite band is like Devotchka, which is
Oh,
like
wow. Super soft, like
yeah,
singer-songwriter
it was
stuff.
like,
Yeah.
Huh.
But also kind of
Okay.
weird.
It's not my type of tea. It's not my cup.
Right.
But I'm gonna give this album, great piece of work. You would never know that it's from the people who did Tally Hall until you know it's from the people who did Tally Hall, and then it kind of like clicks. A
Okay.
little bit.
I need to check them out. Okay, maybe not.
Do you know the song? Do you want a banana?
No.
This banana's for you.
I'm definitely not checking them out now.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, it's a pretty bad song.
Sounds like it.
But my only gripes with this album would probably be I do skip the first half of Mind Electric just because it doesn't do as much for me as it does for you, apparently.
I'm just proud of them for going for that. Really. Again, I respect the guts to do it.
And God, aside from that, I'm not giving this album a 10 just because 10s do kind of need to be a certain genre of album for me.
Okay.
I guess I'm sure many people would give this album a 10.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. Some of these songs have like literally 37 million plays. It's crazy.
It's good stuff. It's really hard for me. It's this area of rating that is always kind of frustrates me because it's so hard for me to put into words why I'm giving this album a specific rating. Like, it's usually in the 8.5 to 10 range.
Mm-hmm.
That I like. A lot of it is based on feeling and
Right.
based on like kind of your emotions through the album, how it impacted you, how it's influenced you.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, though, extremely interesting, it hasn't really influenced me that much. It's unfortunate that there's nothing else out like this. It's a one-of-a-kind album for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give this one a solid... I'm giving it a 9.3.
Okay.
I was thinking about a 9, but we've been talking about it. I've been trying to come up with a reason to give it, like a not a 10.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it's weird, right? Because we both love the album a lot, and I still gave it an 8 something. And it's like you said, it's like my heart, for some reason, doesn't want to give this a 9.
It's just fucking feeling
Just
inside.
turn on your
as-
heart light, man.
as critical as we can be, and as much as we can try to critique this album, um, a big part of it at the end of the day is always just gonna be just our personal fucking
Our
emotions and
feelings.
vibe
Yeah.
with the album.
Yeah.
You know,
For sure.
it's
Yeah.
not something you can really put into words as easily.
And oh boy, have we pissed people off before with our opinions.
All right. Well,
with that said,
let's find those people.
Yes.
Why don't we scroll down a little bit?
let's bring them in on this one, buddies. Thank you so much for watching and or listening. What do you guys think of this record? Do you guys know Miracle Musical? Have you ever heard this album before? There will be a link in the description for you guys to go check it out. But because I think it's definitely worth listening to, and we want to hear your opinions on this, man. Do you guys agree with our thoughts? Like, did you fucking hate this album or did you love it as much as we did? We want to hear from you. Follow us on Instagram at EVPcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Earbuds Podcast. Just search it. You'll find it. We have over 100 other episodes of a bunch of different albums that span almost as many genres as they do on this record.
You know, I think we actually, it is August 23rd when we're recording this, and I think we actually just released our 100th episode.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was the fucking Silver Sun Pickups episode.
Hey, man.
Hey, fucking pew, high five.
Good job.
There we go, dude.
And it feels like our 200th.
We've been fucking speeding to get these numbers up, baby.
Dude, we've been putting in work. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please follow us on Instagram. We want to hear what you guys think and what you guys want us to listen to next. But
and what you want us to think.
Yeah, tell us what you wish we thought instead of what we actually think.
Yeah.
The next episode that we're going to be doing, Ash, is an album that I honestly hated when I was a kid.
Uh-huh.
And I've been wanting for the last 20 years to go back to it and give it another chance.
Oh, yeah, okay. This is... tell me the album.
We are going to be listening to Rancid's self-titled album. It used to be called Rancid 2000 when I was a kid because it came out in 2000. But now on Spotify it's called Rancid 5 in parentheses.
Because it's the fifth album.
Because it's their fifth album. So either
I've
way,
listened to a bit of this album already. It's we'll see.
it's a doozy. It's a doozy. It's their most hardcore record. It's their most like straight up.
That's for sure.
It's their most straight up like old school punk record.
Yeah.
And I never liked it, honestly. So I wanted to revisit it and see if my tastes have changed at all. So also we've been challenged recently by some of you motherfuckers that we clearly don't listen to punk music. So I'm bringing Rancid 2000 to the pod.
Who said that?
Someone literally commented on the OC's video, the review that we did of their goddamn album that we hated, A Foul Form, and said, clearly you guys don't listen to punk. Cringe. And I'm like, wow.
I mean,
because we didn't like this fucking shit record, we clearly don't listen to punk music? Like, no.
Neither of us, we
Gatekeeping
obviously
ass.
never listened to what that album was based on.
Right.
I had never listened to those bands. Someone listed a bunch of bands. I'd never heard of any of them.
Mm-hmm.
I probably wouldn't listen to them anyway if I knew them.
No, definitely not. But shout out to the guy that left us a really awesome comment, really long comment, kind of explaining what this album is and why they liked it. Like, those are the comments that we love, man.
Yeah.
If you guys hate us, like, you can leave those comments too. But we really are just trying to start a conversation, you know? We're just two people that like music, and we're not educated on music. We don't know music theory. We're not fucking Anthony Fantano. You know, we're not professional music critics. We're just two people that love talking about music and have very strong opinions. So we want to hear y'all's, but get ready for the next episode. It is going to be Rancid, self-titled album. Ash, what would you
2000.
What would you rate this this episode?
I'm gonna rate this episode a 5 out of 2000. Baby.
I'm gonna rate this episode a 2000 out of 5, baby.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Way exceeded expectations.
A little different.
Yeah, way exceeded expectations. Yeah. I mean, we had different experiences, I guess.
Yeah, I was like, this was kind of a disappointing episode for me.
Kind of a filler episode, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like really just kind of. We got the canon stuff and we got the filler side of stuff, and this will probably go in that side.
This will be filler.
This is not canon.
But this was good.
It was good.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.